If you run any sort of digital rig, one of the easiest and least expensive things that you can do to kind of dramatically change your sound is to use different IRs. So let's check some out. What's up, everyone? I'm Chris. This is B Minus Demos. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me. Before I go any further, if you would be so kind as to give this channel a follow, give this video a like, leave me a comment, let me know your thoughts once we get to the end of it. I love to talk to everyone, even if they think I'm wrong and a dummy. When you're using a physical amp rig, probably the easiest thing you can do to really kind of drastically change your sound is try different pedals. It's not always feasible to own a bunch of amps and own a bunch of different cabs, and so a lot of times pedals are what people turn to. And I love pedals as much as anybody else. Whether you're running digital or analog, like a real physical rig, pedals are so much fun. But if you're running any sort of digital rig, like maybe you're running just plugins through your DAW, maybe you do like the Neural DSP stuff, or you have like a Walrus ACS1, which is what I'm going to be using today, or the Strymon Iridium, or Quad Cortex, or any of those things. There's like a million different options these days. If you have any of those things, there's actually a relatively inexpensive way to get some pretty drastic changes in your tone. And a lot of times you don't actually have to change the tone. You can just change the IR. I think just for simplicity's sake, your IR is your cab. There are a lot of different explanations for it. I see people argue all the time over what an IR, an impulse response, actually is. But in this scenario, your IR is your cab. So whether you're running, plugins in a DAW, or if you're using some sort of like physical box, like I said, ACS1, Iridium, Tonex, any of that stuff, you can load in different cabs. And I'm going to continue to say cabs just because that's the easiest thing to understand. Like I said, IRs, cabs, it's one of the easiest and least expensive ways to kind of drastically change your sound. Most IR packs are usually under $30, and a lot of times you can find some for $5 and even free. Some of my favorite cab IRs that I use quite a bit are free ones that I've gotten, like from Science Amplification. They have a 412, and I think they have some bass cabs as well that you can get completely free off of their website. And then if you have any sort of plug-in or physical box that you're using, it probably came with at least a handful of different cabs that you can choose from. Most packs come with at least a couple different miking options, whether it's different like mics themselves, or it's different placement or different mixes, and then a lot of them even include like different types of speakers. I have a lot where it came with like vintage 30s and what's the creamback or greenbacks or something like that. So you really do get a lot of bang for your buck. And I've bought packs before that were like $20, and the total number of like possible amp, like cab combinations that you had were like, I don't know, it was like 500 and something different cabs that you had access to for $20 something. Like with everything else, strings, picks, pickups, anything like that, you usually find a brand or two that you really kind of vibe with, and you kind of stick with those. For me, I really, really love the Ownhammer Orange 412 and 212. I have been using those for a couple of years now. I use them a lot. They're some of my favorites, but there are so many good ones out there. So I thought, let's just kind of see how these different cab IRs, these different cabs, can impact what is essentially the same sound. So, like I said, I'm going to be using the ACS1. I think it's a really quick and easy way to kind of switch between the cabs because you can just use this toggle up front. I am using the London setting, which is like a Marshall Bluesbreaker, I think, or JTM 45, one of those. It's one of the kind of bluesy, Marshall-y kind of things. Now, once I actually get into the play-in, you should be able to see the settings on the ACS-1. I've changed it since I recorded that, and I don't remember where I had everything set. The point is, as we're going through these different cabs, the only thing changing are the cabs themselves. I'm not doing anything to the EQ. I'm not doing anything to the volume or the gain structure, anything like that. The only thing that is changing are the cabs themselves. Now, in the ACS-1, you actually have access to up to 6 cabs inside the box. So what we're going to do on the first set of A, B, C, is we're going to do 3 kind of distinctly different IRs. So we're going to do an Atlas 612 with V30s mic'd with an SM57, and then we're going to do a York Audio Zilla Fatboy 212. Again, V30s, and I think that one's also mic'd with a 50s. Actually, I have it. No, Royer 121 on that one, on the Zilla Fatboy. And then I'm using the stock Alnico Blue IR that came with this, again, mic'd with a 57. So what I'll do is I'll play a little bit, I'll switch to another cab, I'll play a little more, I'll switch to another cab, and then we'll kind of go through the cycle a couple of times. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, as you might suspect, kind of like with everything else, not all cabs are created equal. Even if they're supposed to essentially be the same thing, there are differences, and I think that's why IRs can be so cool. Because if you buy an orange 412, it just is what it is, and I love them. They're my favorite cab to use in any situation. But it is what it is, you know, like it's not going to change a whole lot. Now you can put different mics on it and stuff like that, but again, you're getting into a whole lot of money, a whole lot of space, and a whole lot of, you know, time and effort that depending on your setup you may not have. So I think it's important to try out different brands, different creators, different, you know, like what builders, programmers, whatever you want to call them. I think it's really important to try different ones and see what you like. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to try 3 different orange 412s mic'd with an SM57. Now, I tried to do the best I could to get the same kind of mix on them. So each, you know, maker has their own mixes and different ways of kind of recording them, but I tried to get the most basic SM57 sound I could get from each one of them. So I've got them on a list here. The first one in slot A is going to be an Ownhammer Orange 412. Again, V30s with an SM57. This is a go-to option for me. I have used this for, like I said, a couple of years, and I really like this. Now, the next one is from CCal Cabs. I got this through Audio Assault, which does like their own kind of amp sim, kind of plug-in thing that I have been checking out recently, and I plan on doing a demo of that as well. But anyhow, so this is, they call it the Citrus, but it's an Orange 412 with a 57 on the balanced setting. And then we have the York Audio Orange 412. Again, V30s, SM57. Now, this Orange 412 and that Zilla 212 are the first times I've ever used anything York, and I really, really like them. So I'm glad I checked it out. This one is quickly becoming one of my favorites, although I just haven't spent a bunch of time with all the different mixes and everything they have. So like I said, I just kind of chose the generic stock SM57 mix that they have. On the ACS1, to get to this second set of IRs, because you only have a 3-way toggle, you just hold down the bypass switch till the light blinks, and then you can move through that second set of cabs. So that's what you're going to see me do. I'll play a little bit. I'll awkwardly hold down that button. I'll try to move the toggle in a way that doesn't like knock everything over, and we'll repeat the process, and we'll go through, try to do some palm muting and some open chords and some, I don't really remember what I recorded because I recorded this a few days ago and I didn't think to go back and watch it by the time I sat down to do this part. Anyhow, so let's just go ahead and get into the sounds. So, like I said, different IRs, different cab impulse responses, whatever you refer to them as, your digital cab, it offers a lot of flexibility in your tone. It really allows you, let's say you have one plugin that you really, really like, and maybe you got one of the more expensive ones, you spent 100, 150, maybe you, for some reason, got one of the Universal Audio ones and spent like $250 on them, and you just want to expand your options without spending that much money again. The kind of easiest and least expensive way to do that is to start checking out different IRs. If you go back and you watch my video that I did on the Science Mother preamp pedal, I am using the Science Amps 412 V30 IR that he offers for free. It's 100% free, and I love that. I use it a lot. Now, I like having the option to kind of, store 6 right here in the little box. That way, if I don't want to pull up a plugin or a DAW, like I just want to play with some headphones, I can just, set whatever sound I'm looking for, regardless of what amp I'm using on here, and I can run through 6 different cabs to kind of figure out what I'm feeling in that moment. It is becoming so much easier to play guitar and to experience new things in a way that doesn't take up tons of space, that doesn't cost tons and tons of money, and that also kind of doesn't put you in a situation where you might get kicked out of your apartment because it's super, super loud. All right, hey, that's going to do it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you take some time. Hey, maybe you're just getting into guitar and you're trying to figure stuff out. You don't know what you like. I think these digital options are a great way to kind of get exposed to the sound, and you can go, oh, I kind of like this sound. And then once you do get in a position where you maybe want to move into like having a physical amp rig, you kind of already have an idea of what you like. And so it might make it a little easier to hone in on the rig that fits you without having to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars trying to figure out what works best for you, which I don't know about you guys, but I have definitely done. All right, that's it. Have an amazing week. Later.